I was telling
Go ahead, what you saying?
I was telling them that what we want to do it decent and order this time. We'll give you guys an hour to bring out what you guys got to bring out. All we're gonna do is take notes. We ain't gonna comment on none of that.
Yeah,
then if we're gonna rebuttal.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I'm gonna let them brothers bring it out. They ain't really got nothing.
Praise.
I could bring it out, but I'm.
No, y'all got how we all want to do it. That's why I'm gonna give it to you. To y'all to bring it out. So we just take notes and then when we rebuttal, we got our hour.
Right.
Then we speak. Then after them, we have like then we can set we can commune.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So that's how we want to do it. We want to do it decent and order.
We'll do that.
All that's Francis Amos?
Say again?
All that's Francis?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's all Francis.
You just break it up in smaller pieces until it burn longer. You know what I'm saying? Instead of just throwing a big old rock on there, we just.
The ones you got, they like long.
What about incense?
Yeah, incense.
Oh yeah, you can get them in the incense or you can get them in stone. I mean, the stones is more the purest. Like y'all smell how that aroma is.
Yeah, you gotta smell the incense though. Yeah. Incense from folks, bro. They incense.
Frank, what they are?
They hemming from hemming.
Okay.
You gotta
check it out, man. Break it off old stick, man.
They get them at the flea market.
You get them at the flea?
Yeah.
Which one? Magic?
Magic. The dollar. They got them for $1. They the real deal.
I gotta check them out.
From a long time for.
I gotta check them out, man.
That and
it's hard to get your hand on it.
That and the myrrh.
Is that in the white box with the blue print?
It's red box with the white print.
Yeah, red box.
Alright, so we.
Alright, so
I got songs.
you got songs already?
More, yeah.
I'm gonna read this first before we start.
That's our first
Before we start, I'm gonna start with Matthew 26 and 6.
Okay.
Yeah, let's start this first.
Gospel, basically.
Yeah, we're gonna read this out first, then we'll get into the topic.
26 and 6?
Yeah, 6 through 13 I'm gonna read. Alright, we're in the book of Matthew. I'll read it.
Sure.
Matthew 26, verse 6. Now, I'm going to use his word his son since you guys are here. Now, when his son was in Bethany in the house of Simon the leper, there came unto him a woman having an alabaster box of very precious ointment, and poured it on his head as he sat at meat. And when his disciples saw it, they had indignation, saying, to what purpose is this waste? For this ointment might have been sold for much and given to the poor. When the son understood it, he said unto them, why trouble ye the woman? For she hath wrought a good work upon me. For ye have the poor always with you. For me you have not always. For in that she hath poured this ointment on my body, she did it for my burial. Verily I say unto you, wheresoever this gospel shall be preached in the whole world, there shall also this, that this woman hath done, be told for a memorial of her. Sometimes for class, sometimes after.
That's the starting scripture. Okay.
Yep. So the first scripture we're going to go to is Psalms.
90 verse 12.
I think it's where we left off last time when we was here. We threw that scripture out, Psalms 90 and 12. So we're going to start there today. Try to get some understanding on why we feel and why we believe what the scriptures is telling us is that the Shabbat is off the moon. Okay? And we're going to go into how many months biblically, how many biblical months, the number count that the scriptures is talking about, and as well as what the purpose of the moon is.
Okay.
Okay, Psalms 90 and 12. Y'all got it? I guess they calm.
You got it. All good.
We got it? All right. We're in the book of Psalms, chapter 90 and verse 12. So teach us to number our days.
Read that again.
So teach us to number our days.
So the first precept we would use is this, because the Most High is telling us we have to teach us to number our days, specifically number. And we like what we mentioned earlier, names. We don't want to use other God's names.
Right.
So believe it or not, when we say Saturday is the Sabbath, we're throwing a name in front of that Sabbath every time, right? We cannot take that name into the kingdom. We're not going to be saying, yo, it's Saturday in the kingdom. Saying it's a Shabbat, right? So, read that again.
So teach us to number our days.
So throughout the scriptures, you'll see, we do see later on they add names to it, but majority of it is numbers. Second month, the 15th day, third month, the 8th day. That's what you're reading most of the time. You're not seeing names. You're seeing numbers. So there's a measurement of how they're counting this. All right, read that one more time.
Okay. 90 and 12. So teach us to number our days.
So we're going to number our days. So now we're going to go into proving that this, in the scriptures, how many days consist of 1 month, according to scripture, as it is written precept upon precept. First scripture we're going to go to, let's go to Genesis chapter 7 and verse 11. So remember I said, teach us to number our days, right?
Yeah.
So let's see how,
What chapter?
we're in chapter 7, we're going to start at verse 11.
Genesis.
Genesis.
Yeah.
Genesis.
And keep in mind when we went over that Psalms 90 verse 12, the whole point is, like it says, not number our days, not name. So you'll write that, name, not name. That's the whole point. All right. Genesis 7 and 11.
Oh, for what? You want me to write that?
Oh, you get it.
No. Yeah, I'm just going to read. Yeah.
All right. When
Oh,
Genesis chapter 7 and verse 11.
Yes, go ahead.
All ready?
Yep, go ahead.
In the 600th year of Noah's life, in the second month.
In the what?
In the second month.
So I'm going to write second here. All right, that's
The
second.
17th day of the month.
The what?
The 17th day of the month.
Okay.
The same day were all the fountains of the great deep broken up, and the windows of heaven were open.
So the flood started on the second month on the 17th day, according to the scripture, right? From there, we're going to jump to chapter 8, next chapter over. Let's start at verse 2. Though.
Okay. Genesis 8 verse 2.
And then the 4.
The fountains also of the deep and the windows of heaven were stopped.
So now what?
The fountains also of the deep and the windows of heaven were stopped.
So now the flood stopped, right? And it's going to tell us exactly when. Read verse 3.
Verse 3, and the waters returned off the earth continually. And after the end of the 150 days.
The end of what?
The 150 days, the waters were abated.
Okay.
Verse 4.
Yeah, verse 4.
And the ark rested in the 7th month.
In the what month?
In the 7th month, on the 17th day of the month.
Read that again?
And the ark rested in the 7th month, on the 17th day of the month, upon the mountains of Ararat.
Okay, so the key points that we want to get out of here is how the Most High recorded from the second month on the 17th day to the 17th month to the 17th day. Well, the clue is there's 150 days in between them, according to verse 3. Okay, read verse 3 one time.
Verse 3, and the waters returned from off the earth continually. And after the end of the 150 days, the waters were abated.
So how many months from the second to the 7th month is missing? But there's 150 days. If you divide it, there's 30 days each month. So you do, there's 5 months in between here, divided by 30. That'll give you,
150 days divided by 5 months.
there you go. So that gives you 30 days per month. Okay? So that's one. This will be total 30 days from the second month to the 7th month each month. Alright? So now, that's one set of precepts showing that there's 30-day count to keep track of your months. 30 days. Let's go to Numbers 20 and 29. Let's get another account.
Numbers chapter 20.
So there's not 31, there's not 28. Okay? 30.
Thanks.
Numbers chapter 20, what?
Numbers, go to 20 and 29.
Numbers chapter 20, verse 29. And when all the congregation saw that Aaron was dead.
So this is when Aaron passed away, right? Let's wait for them to get there. Numbers 20 and 29? Let's get there. I want them to see it.
Okay, we got it. I got it.
Alright, so these are the precepts that convince us of what the scriptures are trying to tell us. So I just want y'all to see it too.
That's good.
Numbers 20, 29.
Numbers chapter 20, verse 29. And when all the congregation saw that Aaron was dead, they mourned for Aaron 30 days.
How long?
30 days.
So they mourned. The key word that we want is that they're mourning for Aaron for 30 days. Right? So there's another 30 days mentioned in there. Now let's go from there. Let's go to Deuteronomy chapter 21 and 13. Here's the precept for that.
Say that again, say that scripture again.
Deuteronomy chapter 21 and verse 13. Actually, you know what? Hold that precept. I'm going to give you another one. Let's go to Deuteronomy 34 and verse 8.
First, before you go there,
We're going to go to 34 and 8 first, and then we're going to come back to 21, 13, because I want to make the tie with Aaron, specifically with Aaron first.
Okay.
So Deuteronomy 34 and 8 is where we're going now.
Deuteronomy 34, verse 8, and it reads, and the children of Israel wept for Moses.
They what?
Wept for Moses.
So they wept, they mourned, just like they mourned for Aaron, right? When he passed. Go ahead.
In the plains of Moab 30 days.
How long?
30 days.
There goes 30 days again. So they wept for Aaron 30 days, they wept for Moses 30 days.
So
Now-
the days of weeping and mourning for Moses were ended. Just want to include.
Okay, I'm sorry. Yes,
Good.
thank you. Now, from there, now let's go to Deuteronomy 21:13.
To 21:13.
21:13 now. Now we're going to show an example of how
What we read that? 21:13.
Yeah, we're going to 21:13.
Okay, that's what we're going back to. Gotcha.
Yeah, we went to 34:8, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Deuteronomy 21:13.
Now they haven't seen this one, so hold on until we get there.
Gotcha.
So what I want to explain with this is we just read two scriptures that says 30 days and they were mourning and weeping, right? Specifically. So now we're going to read something else. Instead of 30 days, it's going to say something else in a different situation. Deuteronomy 21:13.
21:13. And she shall put the raiment of her captivity off her, and shall remain in thine house, and bewail her father and her mother a full month.
And do what?
And bewail
What
her
does
father.
bewail mean?
Cry.
Cry and mourn. Right? How long?
And bewail her father and her mother a full month.
But what is the words they're using here? Full month.
Full month.
They're not doing 30 days here. Alright, so we got the precepts where Aaron with 30 days they mourn, but Moses they mourn for 30 days, and they also showed that here during, I guess, times of war, right, when they were able to get their wives for being out for so long. This is the steps they had to do. They had to shave their head, do all that stuff, and they were allowed to mourn for their parents for a full month. Alright, just like the months from Genesis, there was 150 days in between. If you divide that by 5, that's 30 days per month. Right? So we got more 30 days. All right, last set of proving 30 days in the scriptures. Let's go to Revelation chapter 11. And we're going to read verse 2 and 3. Revelation chapter 11, verse 2 and 3. And then we'll get into the moon.
That's the one I forgot about. Revelation 11. All right, Revelation chapter 11, verse 2 and 3.
So we went to Genesis, the first book of the Bible, a little bit in the Old Testament. Now we're going to the last book of the scriptures, Revelation. Chapter 11, verse 2 and 3.
Revelation chapter 11, verse 2. But the court, which is without the temple, leave out, and measure it not. For it is given unto the Gentiles, and the holy city shall tread underfoot 42 months.
How long?
42 months.
So the key we want here is 42 months. I'm going to read this now. I understood this one. 42 months, right? Keep reading.
And verse 3, and I will give power unto my 2 witnesses, and they shall prophesy 1,260 days, clothed in sackcloth.
So how many days? 1,260.
1,260 days.
Okay. So now, if we to take 1260 and divide it by 42 months, how many days are each month? 30 days. So he gave you how many days went by in 42 months. So how many days per month? Divided by that, 30 days per month will give you 1260. And that gets you in 42 months. 42 months times 30 gives you 1260.
Yeah, but I'm kind of lost that, I don't really understand what the.
We want to break it down.
Okay,
Once we did them do that hour,
Yeah.
then once we.
that's fine.
Sorry.
So what I want to get at is he gave us numbers, and if you divide 1260 divided by 30, that gives you 42 months. That's how many days, and that's how many months he gave us. Same thing with Genesis, from the 2nd month to the 17th month, to the 7th month to the 17th day. I'm sorry. There was 150 days in between. We'll give you 30 days for 5 months. All right? So now, from there, let's start at Genesis 1 again.
Okay.
We'll go into now how the moon, the scriptures that we have that shows us that the moon is what helps determine those 30 days. That's the ordinance that we're supposed to utilize, is the moon to help determine days and what its purpose is.
Okay, Genesis 1:1.
Let's start at verse 13 where it talks about the sun and moon.
Okay. Well, okay, 14.
14, yeah. Let's start at 14.
Genesis.
That's all I want, 14.
Genesis chapter 1, verse 14. And the Heavenly Father said, let there be lights in the firmament of heaven, to divide the day from the night, and let them be for signs, and for seasons, and for days, and for years.
What lights is 14 talking about? What's the question. I just want to understand. Are we talking about the sun and the moon and the stars here?
Yeah. we agree.
Okay. So out of those ordinances, their purpose is to be what? The second half of 14?
And let them be for signs,
Signs,
and for seasons,
seasons,
and for
and
days,
days,
and
and
years.
years. So their purpose is for those four here. So we got to identify which ordinance is designed to do what purpose, according to the scriptures. So the key emphasis is going to be signs and days for us. Now from there, let's go to Shabbat
43.
43.
So rock 43.
Yep.
So Rock 43, we'll start at verse 6.
So we got to see which ordinance has the job for the signs and for the days. Because according to Genesis 1:14, that's what they made for: signs, season, days, years.
Seasons, man. The seasons.
Seasons, yeah.
All right. We're in the book of Sirach, chapter 43. I'm waiting for it. Chapter 43, verse 6. 6, 7, and 8 is what we read.
It gives us what the sun's purpose is too. Before 6, 7, and 8, everyone knew what the purpose of the sun is.
What chapter?
Sirach chapter 43.
Chapter 43, verse 6, 7, and 8. All right. Sirach 43, verse 6. He made the moon.
You made the what?
The moon also to serve in her season,
Okay.
for a declaration of times.
For a what?
For a declaration of times.
Declaration of times.
And a sign of the world.
And a what?
And a sign of the world.
So when we read Genesis, it said that these two lights were only their purposes, or the stars too, if you want to count them. It says, and let them be for signs and for seasons and for days and years. Verse 6 is talking about declaration of times and a sign. So that's one person of the moon.
And season.
And seasons, thank you. So that's one purpose. Let's read verse 7.
7. From the moon.
From the what?
From the moon is a sign of
It's
feasts.
the sign of what?
Feasts.
Feasts. So that's the big question. What does feast mean here? The feast is moedim, right? Which means what? An appointed time?
Appointed time.
Appointed season, an appointment. That's all it means. So it controls all the appointments that we have within Israel. So that's the purpose of this moon. Okay, controlling all the appointments that we have with the Most High.
From the moon is a sign of feast, a light that decreaseth in her perfection.
Verse 8.
Verse 8. The moon
No,
is
read it again.
the moon. The month.
The what?
The month
The month.
is called after her name.
So whenever you say we're in the third month, the fifth month, all you're saying is we're in the third moon, the fifth moon.
Right.
So if you're saying that, that means you have to be looking at the moon to be saying we're in the third moon, or fifth month, or eighth month. You can't be looking at nothing else. Because that's the whole purpose where month comes from, is from the moon. Alright, so from there, read verse 7 one more time,
Right. From the
and
moon.
then we're going to Leviticus.
From the moon is the sign of feast.
It's the what?
Is the sign of feast.
So if I'm reading the scriptures precept upon precept, if I pick up the Bible for the first time and I read Sirach 43, my first thought would be, okay, what chapter is the feast chapter? Majority of it is Leviticus chapter 23. That's the feast chapter, right? So we'll go to Leviticus 23 because the moon's purpose is to be a sign for the feasts.
Leviticus 23. Leviticus chapter 23, and we're going to start at verse 1. All right. And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, Speak unto the children of Israel, and say unto them, concerning the feasts of the Lord.
Concerning the what?
Concerning the feast of the Lord, which ye shall proclaim to be holy convocations.
So all the feasts are holy convocations. That's the key. All the feasts are holy convocations. To be holy convocations, what?
Even these are my feasts.
So now it's about to list the feasts. Verse 3.
Verse 3. 6 days shall work be done, but the seventh day is the Sabbath of rest and holy convocation.
Hey, what?
And holy convocation.
It's a whole. So the Shabbat is the first feast, or moedim, or appointed time, or appointment mentioned in the feast chapter of Leviticus 23. All right, it's the first one mentioned. It's not the three that we have to go to Israel by mandatory if we can every year. It's not considered that feast, but it's considered a feast, an appointment, because the appointment is because we have to have a holy convocation with the Most High. That's the appointment. Read verse 3 one more time.
Verse 3, 6 days shall work be done, but the 7th day is the Sabbath of rest and holy convocation.
Keep
Ye
reading.
shall do no work therein. It is the Sabbath of the Lord in all your dwellings.
Now you can read verse 4.
Verse 4. These are the feasts of the Lord, even holy convocations, which ye shall proclaim in their seasons.
See, in their seasons. That's a big key from verse 2 and what 3 was talking about. Seasons, that's talking about your yearly feasts now. We do Shabbat more than once a year.
Right.
That's why it's over here. So now here's your yearly. On the 14th day, we're going to start about the Passover in the first month, right? And what ordinance is responsible to keep track of the Passover? The moon. What ordinance is responsible to keep track of what's after the Passover? You got Pentecost.
Yeah,
The moon.
yeah.
Same thing with at the Pentecost, we have what? Tabernacle. We have the blowing the
Blowing the
trumpets.
trumpet 7th month.
The 7th
then
month.
Day of Atonement.
Day of Atonement on the 10th day of the 7th
Then
month. Tabernacles.
Tabernacles.
Right? All of that is calculated through the moon to keep control of our feasts, according to Sirach 43. So I know when I was taught, when I first understood what was going on, I was told that the Shabbat, and this was taught by man, that the Shabbat is not considered a feast. So that's why we use the calendar, but we'll keep track of the other feasts with the moon. You'll have Israel that keep the track of the moon for the feast, for the other feasts, but when it comes to Shabbat, we'll just use the calendar. The calendar, the Gregorian calendar, is a solar sun calendar. It's based off the sun. Scripture says the moon. So we understand that, Satan likes to do everything upside down, backwards. He thinks to change times. He thinks to change it. But the Shabbat is a sign for Israel. So as a sign, like the rainbow is a sign, circumcision is a sign, right? The moon is also a sign so we can keep track of our feasts. Once we understand how to, calculate. But it's off the moon. So from there, so where we went to Sirach 43, we proved that it's a feast.
I just got one piece I want
Go
to
ahead.
add real quick. Just touching on, like we read in, let's go ahead and read verse 2, verse 4 again.
Leviticus chapter 23, verse 4. These are the feasts of the Lord, even holy convocations, which ye shall proclaim in their seasons.
Right. These are the feasts which ye shall proclaim in their seasons. Just want to touch on a precept about, because we already read in Sirach 43, verse 6, said the moon is a sign for seasons. Like we right here. Ye shall proclaim in their seasons, right? So another precept about on the seasons, let's go to Psalms 104:19. Psalms chapter 104, verse 19. Yeah, 104:19.
In the book of Psalms, chapter 104, verse 19. He appointed the moon
Right?
for seasons.
For what?
For
You
seasons.
see that? He pointed the moon for seasons, like just concluding from Leviticus 23:4. These are the feasts of the Lord, even holy convocations, which ye shall proclaim in their seasons. So read that again.
He appointed the moon for seasons.
Right.
The sun knoweth it's going down.
The sun knows going down.
All right.
Because we know this, and that I'm glad we read that. That precept also. I'm trying to.
No, I don't want to jump
I
around
don't
too
wanna
much.
do
No,
it.
we're going to stick to the Shabbat. I don't want to go to the
I
new
don't
moon.
All right, yeah. He appointed the moon for seasons. The sun knows it's going down. So basically, I'm just proving that moon is a sign for.
Everything you read is going to see you're going to see the moon is being mentioned. All right? That's why it's called New Moon Day.
Right.
New moon.
You want to go to 2 Samuel from there, like we did?
Let's go to Exodus 12 first. Okay.
Okay.
Exodus 12:1. Now let's go to Exodus 12:1.
Right.
Alright. To prove that new moon is day 1 of the month, and then counting after new moon is day 2 of the month. And then you just keep counting based off whenever new moon comes in every month.
Right.
That resets your cycle. Now, according to scriptures, we got 30-day months. Not 31, not 28.
Exodus 12:1.
Exodus 12:1. Yep.
Well, 1 and 2, really.
Right. 1 through 3.
Yep.
Something like that.
Y'all good? Exodus 12:1. And the Lord spake unto Moses and Aaron in the land of Egypt, saying, This month shall be unto you the beginning of months.
Say it again.
This month shall be unto you the beginning of months.
So right here, the Most High telling Moses, this is when you're going to start your new count for counting days or counting your history, basically. I'm starting your year over. And from this point on, we're going to document from here when you left Egypt and all the things I've done. And this is day 1, month 1 for you right now. He's basically starting the year over. Read it again.
And the Lord spake unto Moses and Aaron in the land of Egypt, saying, This month shall be unto you the beginning of months.
Read.
It shall be the first month of the year to you.
So whatever we calculate, this is the first month of the year for us. And then the month, what does the word month mean?
Right, I was just going to say that.
According to Sirach, means the moon. So he's telling you this is the first moon, which is how we keep track, number count of our days.
Right. That's how I read it sometimes, just to help it soak in.
Right.
Verse 2. This moon shall be unto you the beginning of moons. It shall be the first moon of the year to you.
So it shall be day 1.
Day
The moon,
one.
day 1. It's the first one. Now, let's go to Samuel,
Right.
chapter, what is it, 1?
That was...
Or 1 Samuel chapter
1
20.
Samuel chapter 20. Yeah.
1 Samuel chapter 20. Or it might be 2. No.
What's up, 28, 20?
1 Samuel chapter 20.
20 verse 24. Yep.
We're going to jump down. Hold on. Let's see. I want to go to 20. Yes, 24. So this is King David, right? In this chapter. But it's going to give us a clue of why the Most High gave us 2 witnesses of what we're about to read. So, let's go to verse, go ahead, 24, tell me right?
24, yeah.
With the book of what?
1 Samuel chapter 20 verse 24.
Read.
All right, it says, So David hid himself in the field.
Uh-huh.
And when the new moon was come,
And the what?
and when the new moon was come,
So new moon, right here, right? So when new moon came in, which is day 1, go ahead.
the king sat him down to eat meat.
Right, now jump down to the
27.
27.
And it came to pass on the morrow,
On the what?
on the morrow,
The word tomorrow means the next day, right? So
Which-
we're already in new moon, so he said it came to pass on the morrow, which is the next day, go ahead.
which was the second day of the month.
Which was what?
The second day of the month.
So they calculated new moon being the first day of the month, and on the morrow, which is the next day, was the second day of the month. So you just keep, now the following day would be the 3rd day, the following day would be the 5th day.
I got it.
Then you keep going, and so if we were in the first month on the 10th day, we would have to go get what? A lamb, right? Because we're in the first month. So you keep counting off the moon to the 10th day, and then you go get you your lamb. And then on the 14th day at even, you kill it on Passover. So before the 10th day, though, you're going to run into a Shabbat.
That's what I want to do. I got a piece for that.
So before we get there, though, I want to say one more. Read that one more time.
Okay, verse 27.
Yep.
And it came to pass on the morrow, which was the second day of the month.
So on the morrow, so new moon's the first day of the month. On the morrow was the second day of the month, which means moon, second day of the moon.
Right.
Right? Now jump to verse 34. No, verse 34 real quick.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, verse 34.
Thank you.
So Jonathan arose from the table in fierce anger and did eat no meat the second day of the month.
The what?
The second day of the
He
month.
said it again twice. Two witnesses, right? By the mouth of 2 or 3 witnesses shall be established. So we got 2 witnesses counting the second day of the month after new moon day, which is the first day of the month. All right. So tell them where you want to go now.
Verse 12. Let's jump back to verse 12. All right. Verse 12 says, And Jonathan said unto David, O Lord God of Israel, when I have sounded my father about tomorrow any time or the 3rd day.
3rd day of the month.
So we're just showing, the days, how they're numbered.
So you had new moon tomorrow and then the 3rd day.
Then the 3rd day. Now let's go to Numbers 29. There's a continuation. Numbers chapter 29. Numbers not yet. Now, then after this, then like how you were saying, like going, that's how we counted into day 10 and going on. You see what I'm
Okay,
saying?
good. I don't know what you got, but go ahead. What do you want me to read?
Cool.
Okay.
All praise. Okay, go ahead. We're at Numbers 29, y'all there? Numbers chapter 29, go ahead and start at verse 1.
You want verse 1? All right.
Mhm.
When the book of Numbers, chapter 29, verse 1.
Right?
And in the 7th month,
Right?
on the first day of the
On
month,
the what?
on the first day of the month,
So what day is that? Fam, all praise. Just make a little following along here. All praise. First day of the month. Read on.
ye shall have a holy convocation.
Why? Because it's new moon day. Read.
Ye shall do no servile work.
Because it's new moon day. Read.
It is a day of blowing the trumpets unto you.
That's because it's that's the first day of the 7th month.
Right.
Every first day of the month, new moon day. This is an example of the 7th month. Now jump down to verse 17.
Verse 17, it says, and on the second day.
You see that? This is an example. You see? Because like remember not from Psalms 90 verse 12. Teach us to what? Number our days. So this is an example right here. Read that again, 17.
And on the second day.
That's an example. Now jump down to verse 20.
Verse 20. And on the third day.
You see that? These are examples. Numbers. Teach us to number our days. Verse 23.
And on the fourth day.
You see? That's that on the 4th day. Gave us numbers. Verse 26.
On the 5th day.
You see that? That's how we get our days. He didn't give us, those names. Jump to 29.
29. And on the 6th day.
You see that? On the 6th day. That's another number. Verse 32.
32. And on the 7th day.
That's another day. Okay, and we're going to get explanation because here we'll go to Ezekiel 46. Now jump to verse 35.
Verse 35. On the 8th day.
What? 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 On the 8th day what?
On the 8th day, ye shall have a solemn assembly.
Woo! Why? Read on.
Ye shall do no servile work
Now he
therein.
said on the 8th day. You see that? What's going on here? And to get to understand it, we're going to go to Ezekiel 46 and 1. But you can see here, there's an example in Numbers 28. Numbers 29, sorry, you got with that one, you see the first day, the second day, third, all the way down to 8. Now, real quick, before we leave this chapter, jump to verse 7.
Verse 7. And ye shall have on the 10th day.
See that? 10. That's what 2 days after day 8. You got day 9 and then what? Day 10. Read.
Of this 7th month.
Right.
And holy convocation.
Right.
And ye shall afflict your souls. Ye shall do any work therein.
Right. Because on the 10th day of the 7th month, the day of atonement. So that's why that's there. Day 10. Now jump to verse 12.
Verse 12. And on the 15th day.
You see that?
Of
Count
the
to
7th month.
Right, the 7th month. That same month, 15th day. So now we see we're almost 2 weeks in. Right? Read on.
Ye shall have a holy convocation.
Right.
Ye shall do no servile work, and ye shall keep a feast unto the highest 7 days. I'm
Right.
Stop saying that word, man. Y'all gotta cut me on that.
The 15th day, that's when the
I gotta get that out.
That 15th day right there, we're just showing that's another number. 15th day is that's when you're starting your feast of unleavened bread on that 7th. I'm sorry, feast of tabernacles on that 7th month.
But that's it. The numbers is perfect though.
The numbers.
That's the key. You still count off the moon every month.
Right.
There's no not looking away from the moon. Is what I'm saying.
All praise. Now, like we read in verse 35, it says on the 8th day.
Why is there an 8th day in the week?
You see, right.
I thought it was on
Just to
7th
get
day.
your wheel turning. See, Esau or the oppressor, right, gave us 1 through 7. And we just read how many days in a month? 30.
What is 30?
It's 30 days in a month. They only gave us 7 names, 1 through 7. So 1 through 7, that ain't in here. 1 through 7 ain't in here. It's 30. 30's in here. 1 through 30. Right? So now we're going to go to Ezekiel 46 and 1 to get to understand of why here in Numbers 29 is it saying on the 8th day. If it says 7 days 6 days shall work, and 7 days Sabbath. Right? That's where the confusion. What the hell's going on? Why is it telling us here? Huh? Ezekiel 46 and 1. Why is he saying on the 8th day he shall have a solemn assembly? We're going to get some understanding.
So put this next to the Ezekiel 46 and 1 is going to help answer this one.
Yes.
So I will put those together if you want.
Yes, sir.
Right.
Ezekiel 46 and 1, man.
We're in the book of Ezekiel, chapter 46 and verse 1. Ezekiel, chapter 46 and verse 1.
Right.
And you got the one that you cut?
Everybody get that one.
Yeah. You got the other precept that you pull out?
Oh, yeah.
That both shall come on that day.
Right.
All right, Ezekiel 46 and 1. Thus saith the Most High,
Right.
the gate of the inner court that looketh toward the east shall be shut the 6 working days,
Okay, go ahead.
but on the Sabbath it shall be open,
Right.
and in the day of the new moon
Right.
it shall be open.
Now, go ahead and finish that so that everybody can
That's it.
make sure that's the end of it.
Yep.
Okay, now let's read that again. Let's get some understanding.
Ezekiel 46 and 1.
Okay.
Thus saith the Most High, the
Right.
gate of the inner court that looketh toward the east shall be shut
Right.
the 6 working days.
How many days?
6 working days.
So how many days is that?
6 days.
That's 6 days, right, brothers? Okay, read on.
But on the Sabbath
So
it
how
shall
many-
be open.
So now 6 plus the Sabbath. How many days is that? That's 7 days. Okay, read on.
And in the day of the new moon.
Uh-huh.
How many days is that?
How many days is that?
8.
You see that? Now when we read on Numbers 29 and 8 said on the 8th day shall be a solemn assembly. Because, read it again.
Thus saith the Most High, the gate of the inner court that looketh toward the east shall be shut the 6 working days.
Right. Go ahead. I'm gonna start. I'm gonna do it over.
All right, do it over
to help make
Yep.
it
6 working days.
real.
That's why it's the whole book.
Yeah, it's all good. All right. Boom. Okay, now go ahead and read that again, bro.
All right. Thus saith the Most High. This
Right.
is Ezekiel chapter 46 and 1. Thus saith the Most High, the gate of the inner court that looketh toward the east shall be shut the 6 working days.
Shall be shut 6 working days, right? Here we go, brother. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Right? Read on.
But on the Shabbat it shall be open.
So that's another day, right? You want to get some drink?
No, we're good.
Okay. So go ahead, read it again. I didn't want to cut you off. I didn't want to throw you
But
off.
on the Shabbat it shall be open.
Wait, you said 6 working days?
6 working days.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, right?
But on the Shabbat it shall be open.
That's 7, right? Shabbat, that's 7, right? Read on.
And in the day of the new moon it shall be open.
So that's what? A total of 8 days, like we said, right? Total of 8 days, right? Now, what's the first day of the month? The first day of the month. It's called what?
No moon.
That'd be
Of every month. But yeah, trumpet. The 7th month you're blowing the trumpets, right?
Right. The first day of every month is called what?
a bill.
The first day of every month.
Month.
First day of every month.
Not the
Every
year.
month.
Not the year. You said the year. You're thinking the year.
First day of every month is called what?
New moon day.
New moon day.
New moon day.
The first day of every month is New Moon Day.
Now, you got new moon.
Numbers
and full
10.
moon,
Hold,
right?
hold, let's hold this. Go to Numbers 10.
10, yeah.
Numbers 10 and 10. It's all good. That's why we gotta ask a little question. We won't just keep rumbling. You know what I'm saying? We gotta ask a couple questions here and there. Okay, Numbers 10 and 10.
Alright. We're in the book of Numbers, chapter 10 and verse 10.
Okay, y'all got it?
Numbers 10:10. Also in the day of your gladness, in
Right.
your solemn days,
Right.
and in the beginning of your months,
In the beginning of your months with an S, read.
ye shall blow with the trumpets over your burnt offerings and over the sacrifices of your peace offerings, and that may be unto you for a memorial before your Father. I am the Most High.
From the top again.
Also in the day of your gladness,
Right.
and your solemn days,
Solemn days.
and in the beginning of your months.
Beginning of your months, because that's New Moon Day. Let's get to understand. The beginning of your months, New Moon Day. Read that's a feast day. Read. Matter of fact, let me say this real quick. New Moon Day is the only feast day that's not listed, that's not mentioned or listed in Leviticus 23. It's the only feast day that ain't in Leviticus 23. New Moon Day. Go ahead, read it again. Numbers 10 and 10.
And the days of your gladness and the solemn days and in the beginning of your months you
Right.
shall blow with the trumpets
Beginning
over.
of your months. That's why I say, what's the first day of every month? It's New Moon Day. So every month or every moon, you got 5 holy convocations. You got New Moon Day and 4 Sabbaths. 5 holy convocations every month or every moon. So now we understand New Moon Day is the first day. So let's go back to Ezekiel 46.
Ezekiel 46 and 1. This is why it's new moon days and Shabbat.
Right.
You want to go to blow you up the trumpet in the new moon?
No. Ezekiel 46 and 1. Thus saith the Most High, the gate of the inner court that looketh toward the east shall be shut the 6 working days.
Right. So we got
So
6.
it's going to
1,
be
2,
closed.
3,
No one's going to be
4.
able to go in.
Right.
Because you're going to be working 6 working days.
Right. I'm just getting the count real quick and then we're going to
Yeah.
go. I got you. Wait, the 6 working days, so I counted 6 days right here, right? Go ahead, read.
But on the Shabbat, on the Sabbath,
That's 7.
it shall be opened.
Right. And then,
And in the day of the new moon, it shall be opened.
so we know there's a total of how many days, brother? And again? 8 days, right? So what's the first day of the month again?
New moon.
New Moon Day. So that's this day right here. New Moon Day. New Moon Day. All right? That's this day right here. I just colored it in. That's the new moon. Okay? Now, Leviticus 23. Well, you go ahead, finish. Go ahead.
Based off this scripture,
Based
are we
off this
able to
scripture.
work on new moon day?
No.
Why? Because the gates are going to be open, right? It said the 6 working days. So we don't work on new moon days. So that's not part of the 6 working day count.
Exactly.
You don't count new moon as day
Holy
1 for the work
convocation.
week. All right?
That's Holy Convocation, not a work day. But it's a new moon day. So it is day 1. Right? So it said, and then the
It's day 1 in the 30-day number count,
Right.
but it's not day 1 of the work week.
Right.
So now,
So you got New Moon Day.
right?
And then,
And on the Shabbat, it shall be open.
okay, so
6
day
working
1,
days.
3, 4, 5, 6. And what day is that? Because really, this is 2. I'm
That's
sorry,
why I
I'm
had
messing
to,
them up.
yeah.
3.
That's
This
where
is
the
day 2, because this is 1. And day 1. 2, 3. This is 4. That's day 5. That's day 6. This is day 7.
If you got 6 working days plus New Moon Day, how many days is that? That's 7 days already, right? You count New Moon as day 1, then you work 6 days after that.
Right.
And you just keep the number count going.
Boom. And that's your Shabbat. That's why 8 days is a holy convocation.
So what that means is, it's not number 8, it's 7 days from the 6 working days. 6 days you shall work, and then on the 7th day you rest.
Right.
But it's not the 7th day of the month.
Right.
Some people think it's the 7th, 14, 21 of the month, but that's not what it is. It's actually the 8th, 15, 22nd, and 29th of the month.
Those are the Shabbats.
Those are supposed to be the Shabbats. And
That doesn't change.
New
That
Moon is day
pagan
1
calendar
of
changes.
every month.
That pagan calendar, hey, you know what I'm saying? But this right here don't change. That moon come around, that's just day 1.
They should all come up on New Moon.
And then the next day after that, you talking about
Isaiah
Isaiah 66:23.
Let's go to
New
Isaiah
Moon
66,
Day.
23.
And then you count. You keep counting. That's how we got to
Yeah,
this.
'cause that's what Ezekiel 46 talking about, worship
Right.
days. You can't go in the temple and worship and
And 6 working days.
yeah, on the 6 working days. It said that in verse 3. New moon day and Sabbath you can worship.
Right. 66 and what up? 15?
23, 66, 23.
What's that? Ezekiel 6?
Isaiah
Oh,
66
66, 23.
and verse 23.
Precept for that.
That's a precept for Ezekiel 46 and 1. For the 2 days. It says, it shall come to pass that from one new moon to another, and from one Sabbath to another, shall all flesh come to worship before me, say the Most High.
From when?
So from one new moon to another, and from one Shabbat to another, shall all flesh come to worship before me, thus say the Most High. So your new moon dictates the Shabbats for that month.
Right.
Because what you'll come to find out once you do the calendar of it, new moon's a separate day, but it falls, and then the Shabbats fall right underneath it. Then after new moon, you have 6 days, then the 7th day you rest. Then you have 6 days, the 7th day you rest. 6 days, and you do that till you reach number 30, and then you start another new moon.
And
Which
it
means
lines
new
up
month.
beautifully once you're watching them, you know.
And that's the ordinance as a sign that we're supposed to be able to look up and kind of figure out, okay, what day are we in? We can't look at the sun, it's the same phase all the time. You got to count some kind of tally in order to keep count. And based off the seasons, it's going to show a different kind of light. If it's in winter, it's going to be further away, summer, they're closer, whatever. That's all stuff we still got to figure out. We're trying to figure out the pattern of the sky. But we got the scriptures to guide us, and we got to go as it is written, precept upon precept in the scriptures. Because everything is here that we feel as far as salvation and understanding the scriptures. Because it says what? Study to show that stuff. And get the understanding and the milk and all that. Right? So we got to, it gives us everything that we need. We got to break that down. So let's go. What we got? I got another 15 minutes, so let me go a couple more precepts.
And
Did y'all understand the 8? Why we say 8 days now?
We got it.
Okay,
We got it.
sweet. Based off what the scripture says.
So, because that new moon is the first day, then you start the 7th day.
Right, because it's not. It doesn't count as a work day.
Well, I got
Right.
I understand.
Gotcha. Cool. As long as we understand. Cool.
then as you continue counting,
Right.
of course you got.
So now some rebuttals that we have that I've heard, or what I was told too first coming in, I was used to think Saturday was a Shabbat too, and I used to question, well, why do we do the moon for all the feasts but not the Shabbat? And it made no sense to me. And now I'm glad that was able to figure something out. But the Most High took us out of that. Okay, they say, I've heard, I don't know if that's what you guys believe too, that I guess the Shabbat was passed down from Adam. I don't know if y'all heard of that. That's why it's the Saturday Shabbat, because they've got that understanding all the way passed down from Adam. Have you heard of that? I don't know.
That's what we were told.
Like, do you guys agree with that too, or is that an argument as well?
When you read, because Enoch, book Enoch was before Genesis, so yes, you can't go out and tell you the testimony of Adam, Seth, and all the, they tell you all of those testimonies, so tell you that they kept the law of commandments, because the commandments did not only come with Moses, commandments way before Moses.
Right, we understand. There was a set of commandments. So
Yeah.
now, so let me throw this at you guys. Let's go to Deuteronomy chapter 5. Let's go to Deuteronomy, because I want to, I see what you're saying, that in other books, in Enoch and all that, it says this, but sticking to the scriptures, this is what it says here.
5.
Good, let's go to Deuteronomy. We're going to start at verse 1. Because in order for Adam to have received the Shabbat, I'm not saying that he didn't receive laws. Yes, we understand. We got proof that he had sacrificial law. We got proof that Noah understood between clean and unclean. Right? But you won't see a Shabbat
Feasts.
being kept as an example until you read Exodus. Genesis 2:7 says the Most High, or 2 and, I can't remember what it is, rested on the Shabbat. But, we're going to read this right here.
All right. Deuteronomy chapter 5.
Let's write verse 1, yeah?
Start at verse 1. And Moses called all Israel and said unto them, Hear, O Israel, the statutes and judgments which I speak in your ears this day, that ye may learn them and keep and do them.
Right.
The Lord our God made a covenant with us in Horeb.
Made what?
The Lord our God made a covenant with us in Horeb.
So he made a covenant with us. Read verse 3.
Verse 3. The Lord made not this covenant with our fathers.
Read that again.
The Lord made not this covenant with our
Read it
fathers.
one more time.
The Lord made not this covenant with our fathers,
Read.
but with us, even us, who are all of us here alive this day.
So according to this verse, what we're about, the covenant we're about to read was not made with our forefathers. According to verse 3.
Right.
Is that what the scripture just said?
That's good.
Okay, I'm just making sure. So verse 2, it says the Lord, what do y'all replace for that?
Huh?
When you have Lord and God, what do
It's
y'all?
Old Testament. It's Yahweh.
So both words is Yahweh. So when Yahweh
Yeah,
made
you don't read the Lord God.
all right, just
That's
Yahweh.
one word.
Okay,
Heavenly
It's
Father.
Yahweh, sure, Yahweh. You
Right.
see the when I just see God, I say Yahweh.
okay.
When I see the Lord God, I say Yahweh, sure, Yahweh.
You can maybe say, High Almighty.
All right, I'll say that. All right, good. So I'm gonna say the Father. When the Father made a covenant with us in Horeb, right? Verse 3. The Father made not this covenant with our fathers, but with us, even to us, who are all of us here alive this day. So what we're about to read is actually the 10 Commandments, right? Just another account of it. But let's jump specifically to verse 14. No, 13.
13.
No, 12.
So you want to
Okay, verse
12. Yeah, we're gonna go. We want 1
5
through 3. Verses 1 through 3 on Deuteronomy chapter 5, verses 1 through 3, and then we're going to jump to verse 12 now, to 15.
All right, Deuteronomy chapter 5, verse 12.
So we're going to read what covenant he, according to verse 3, that he didn't make with our forefathers, and why we don't see an example, or possibly why we don't see an example until the manna it was given in Exodus of the Shabbat being mentioned. Right? So let's read verse 12.
Verse 12. Keep the Sabbath day to sanctify it.
So he's given them the Shabbat, understanding of the Shabbat here from Mount Oreb, and he said that he didn't make this covenant with our forefathers. So this is all part of the covenant that he didn't make with our forefathers. So he's giving us the Shabbat here. Verse 12. Ready again one more time?
Verse 12. Keep the Sabbath day to sanctify it, as the Lord thy God hath commanded thee. 6 days shalt thou labor, and do all thy work.
Right?
But the 7th day is the Sabbath of the Lord, of the Heavenly Father.
So now we understand that the 7th day is not talking about the 7th day of the month. It's talking about 7th day of the work week. That's all it's talking about. 6 days you should work, and on the 7th day. And now we understand a little bit how to count that 6 days off the moon. Go ahead.
Okay,
Jump down to verse 15.
15.
So we're talking about the Shabbat. Here's the reason.
15. And remember that thou wast a servant in the land of Egypt.
And what?
In the land of
It
Egypt.
says, remember that we was a servant in the land of Egypt, our forefathers, read.
And that the Heavenly Father brought thee out thence through a mighty hand and by a stretched out arm. Therefore,
What?
Therefore,
What does that word therefore mean? So because this happened, therefore, right? Because something happened, cause and effect almost. Therefore, right? What?
Therefore, the Lord thy God commanded thee to keep the Sabbath day.
So according to Scripture, why did the Most High give us the Shabbat? Was it because he rested on the 7th day and that's why we got it? Or does verse 15 give us the reason why he gave us only Israel, not a covenant with his forefathers, but he did in Israel in the wilderness? It says, and remember that thou was a servant. So the whole purpose of Shabbat is to keep us remembering about Egypt, just like Passover, just like all the other holy days, and also a shadow of good things to come, right, with Christ, or the Son.
Messiah.
That's all it's about right there.
So verse 15 gives us why Israel received the Shabbat. Because they were a servant in Egypt. Therefore, the Most High commanded thee to keep the Sabbath day. He just explained everything before that, therefore. So that's one question. So when someone says that has been passed down for Adam, I don't see an example of Adam even keeping the Shabbat.
Right.
Or Abraham at that
Abraham,
time
no.
in the scriptures. The first time you see the Shabbat is Exodus during the manna. Now, That's one question. Let's go to Lamentations 2 and 6. There's another, since I got a little bit more time. Another when they say, oh, it was passed down, or it's from the, it was passed down from creation, from Genesis. If it was continually passed down, we got to answer these questions.
Lamentations 2 and 6.
Lamentations 2 and 6.
Brothers, I'm going to try to write these scriptures down that he's talking about now, the brother scripture, because after we do our talk, these be the main ones that we focus on.
Well, I got to enjoy
You
himself.
got-
I'm
okay.
trying to put the joke out.
Just vent.
The best from him. I got the best from him.
Lamentations
2 and 6.
2 and 6. And he hath violently taken away his tabernacle, as if it were a garden. He hath destroyed his places of the assembly. The Heavenly Father has caused the solemn feasts and Sabbaths.
And what?
The Heavenly Father has caused the solemn feasts and Sabbaths to be forgotten in Zion.
To be what?
To be forgotten in Zion.
So, at one point, we forgot the Shabbat. So this is one precept that the scriptures say that the Most High made us forget the Shabbat. That's why it always starts off with remember the Sabbath day. That's the whole reason why it says remember. It's the fourth commandment, right? Because it's going to be forgotten on how to keep it, right? So it couldn't have been passed down if it's been forgotten. From there, let's go to Hosea 2 and 11. Hosea 2 and 11.
Yep, Hosea chapter 2 and 11. Y'all got it? Hosea 2 and 11. I will also cause all her mirth to cease, her feast days, her new moons, and her
You
Sabbaths.
see that? So everything was going to be cease, meaning stop, forgotten. Back in Lamentations 2 and 6, they used the word forgotten. Here it's using cease, right? Those are all the same words to say that everything was going to be done. We ain't even going to know who we are. How are we going to know how to keep a Shabbat? Or maintain all the way from Genesis.
No
From
more
Adam?
remembrance, right?
For real? We got that.
That's how be discontinued from thy heritage.
Alright. From there, let's go to Nehemiah 9:14, and then I got one more after that, and then I'm good. I got 5 minutes.
Nehemiah.
9:14. Nehemiah 9:14 goes with Deuteronomy 5. If y'all want to put that.
Nehemiah.
9:14. That goes with Deuteronomy 5. When Moses gave us, when he came down from Mount Sinai, it says the same thing. So it's that same time.
Nehemiah chapter 9, verse 14. And made it known unto them thy holy Sabbath.
Makes what?
And made it known.
Read the verse before. 13.
Verse 13. Thou camest down.
Nehemiah chapter 9.
Chapter 9, verse 13. Nehemiah 9:13. Thou camest down also upon Mount Sinai.
Mount what?
Mount Sinai.
Talking about Moses, right? Just what we read in Deuteronomy 5. Horeb. Okay.
And spakest with them from heaven.
Uh-huh.
And gavest them right judgments and true laws and good statutes and commandments.
Right.
And madest known unto them thy holy Sabbath.
And what?
And madest known unto them thy holy Sabbath.
That's when it was made known about the Shabbat. Just like we read in Deuteronomy 5:15, he said, I made not this covenant with our fathers, but you. And you won't see an example of them keeping the Shabbat. In the KJV 1611, you won't see it. Prior to Mount Sinai, coming down from Mount Sinai in the map. Alright, let me get Ezekiel, bro. Let me get Ezekiel 44, 23 and 24.
Ezekiel 44.
Yep, 23 and 24.
Ezekiel 23.
And 24.
23. 23 verse 24.
Ezekiel 44, 23 and 24.
Oh, 44.
Yep, Ezekiel 44. Okay. Ezekiel chapter 44, verse 23 and 24.
Ezekiel chapter 44, verse 23.
Okay?
And they shall teach my people the difference between the holy and profane.
Remember we were talking about holy last week? Which means what? Set apart. We ain't set apart if we keep a Saturday Sabbath.
Right.
Profane evil. Cussing.
Profane? Yeah, there you go.
Ain't set apart.
Yeah, they ain't set apart. Right, so read that again from the top.
And they shall teach my people the difference between the holy and profane.
So we're going to teach them between the holy and profane. Even though it's been forgotten, the teaching's going to come out eventually. Go ahead.
And cause men to discern between the unclean and the clean.
So we got to discern between the unclean and clean. What did the scriptures say as being holy for the Shabbat? How do we do it? How do we keep it, right? We got to make a difference.
Right.
Go ahead. 24.
24. And in controversy they shall stand in judgment.
And what?
And in controversy.
There's going to be controversy about it. Go ahead.
They shall stand in judgment.
But we're going to judge it according to what?
According to the book.
Read what it says.
And they shall judge it according to my judgment.
To what?
And they shall judge it according to my judgment.
According to the scriptures. According to the Bible. That's how we're going to judge it. According to what it says as it is written. Let any man speak the oracles of God if any man speaks, right? So we're going to judge it based off what this says.
Right.
Go ahead.
And they shall keep my laws and my statutes.
And what?
In all mine assemblies. And they shall hallow my Sabbaths.
Say what?
And they shall hallow my Sabbaths.
All right, from there, last precept, let's go to Ezekiel 22 and verse 26, please. So we're supposed to hallow the Shabbats and make it a holy, separate from everybody else.
Ezekiel 22.
The last scripture, Ezekiel 20, what we were just at was Ezekiel 44, 23, and 24. Now we're going to Ezekiel 22 and verse 26. And I'm done. This is what,
Thank you, bro.
to me, the Shabbat's the fourth commandment, right? Well, we understand it's the fourth, not just to me, but it's the fourth commandment of the Ten Commandments, right? It says remember. The reason why it says remember is because it was going to be forgotten. We're not going to know who we are, right? We're not going to know how to count days. We're going to be using names, right? And want of all things, we're going to depend on them and want of everything. They did something to change times, according to Daniel, right? All of that applies. So read.
Ezekiel chapter 22 verse 26. Her priests have violated my law and have profaned my holy things. They have put no difference between the holy and profane. Neither have they showed the difference between the unclean and the clean.
Read.
And have hid their eyes.
Have what?
And have hid their eyes.
Have what?
Have hid their eyes from my Sabbaths.
From his what?
From my Sabbaths.
So that's what's happening a lot in Israel too, that they're hiding from this understanding or trying to get the understanding of this. You guys are brothers, all praises, you guys are here sitting down. We try to get brothers to sit down. How many times?
What?
Just to go through what we just went through. Just to show you, look what we got. Y'all discern it, meditate on it, show us what you got, and we go from there. You know what I'm saying? Other than that, that's it. I'm done. All praises to the Most High.
Good job.
Good job, bro. Good job.
All right.
So I hope y'all
Yeah, man.
got something out of that.
Okay, and just a quick comment.
ahead.
We got to just keep in mind, like, what we've learned throughout this is that we know that, like, let's say, like crafty counsel and like we just read a few scriptures. We know, understand the crafty counsel, that calendar is part of that, to hide the Sabbath from the children of Israel, right? And then at the same time, keep in mind when we like the 7 days, when we go to Genesis, we got to understand that the Most High's creation is way beyond our understanding than Israel. You know what I'm saying? Because we read Genesis, the creation, and then try to assimilate 6 days and 7 into trying to get understanding of Sabbath, and it causes confusion a little bit because of the Most High's creation. That ain't got nothing to do with Israel. But I'm just wanting to bring that up. But yeah, go ahead, brothers.
Render Caesar what is Caesar, huh?
Render what Caesar was Caesar.
Render
Right.
to Caesar
And then
what is Caesar, right?
But number our day, we went through that, so all praise.
Okay,
You guys want to write this down?
you gonna need, first you gonna need a reference Bible.
Mm-hmm.
First you gonna need a reference.
Did you have a list of what you were going through? Or you just,
The precepts you talking about?
yeah,
Yeah, I got a list. What you need?
okay, yeah, I missed a few of them there.
All right. Which one?
Let me see,
I'll take it. Yeah.
the Revelations right after Deuteronomy.
Yep. Revelations chapter 11.
30 days.
Yep. That's to keep the 30-day count. It's verses 2 and 3. And what you have is it identifies 42 months, along with 1,260 days in those 32 months.
2 and 3. Okay, and
You gotta do some math.
then the one in the Apocrypha, the first one,
The Sirach,
yeah.
about the moon.
Ecclesiasticus.
Ecclesiasticus chapter 43.
6, 7, and 8.
Right.
Okay, that's
6, 7, and 8. That talks about the purpose of the moon and the sun.
The stretch. Boy.
All right, Our first scripture is going to be Isaiah 58:1 and 2. Like I said, we heard you guys out. We're going to bring out what we have. We must show Israel their transgression. We out of order, you go.
Alright, so we're going to add the, I got you.
Did you say go where now? Isaiah
I thought
what?
we were going straight to the doctor. Alright, I got you.
Well, no, we can get.
I got you.
You said Isaiah where?
58:1.
Isaiah 50, okay. Everybody ask?
Yeah, bro.
Says, cry out loud, spare not, lift up thy voice like a trumpet, and show my people their transgressions, and the house of Jacob their sins. Yet they seek me daily and delight to know my ways, as a nation that did righteousness and forsook not the ordinance of their Yahweh. They ask of me the ordinances of justice. They take delight in approaching to Yahweh.
Okay, now let's go to 2 Timothy 3:16. 2 Timothy 3:16.
This scripture.
Second Timothy 3:16.
Everybody has it? All scriptures is given by inspiration of Yahweh, and is profitable for doctrine, for reproof, for correction, for instruction in righteousness, that the man of Yahweh may be perfect, truly furnished unto all good works.
This scripture here I brought up because it said all scripture is given for inspiration of a higher. So it said for profitable for doctrine, reproof, and correction, and instruction in righteousness. So all scripture, even the books is missing, because this Bible here, when you read this Bible, it's calling for all these other books. I'm not going to call for all these books. I'm going to let this Bible here call out for the book of Enoch. Let's go to Romans 15:4. Romans 15:4. So first we're going to prove that this book asking for Enoch, because before we go in, because we're going to bring out Enoch today. Romans 15:4.
Everybody has it? For whatsoever things were written aforetime were written for our learning, that we through patience and comfort of the scriptures might have hope.
Now what for is written was written for our learning aforetime. So therefore we got more than Old Covenant. We have the book of Enoch, we got Jubilees, we got Jasher, that Enoch wrote those books. So those books, this Bible acts for those books. So next scripture is Revelation 22:18-19. Revelation 22:18-19.
Anybody has it? For I testify unto every man that heareth the words of the prophecy of this book. If any man shall add unto these things, Yah shall add unto him the plagues that are written in this book. And if any man shall take away from the words of the book of this prophecy, Yah shall take away his part out of the book of life and out of the holy city and from the things which are written in this book.
Okay, I'll pray tonight. If any man add take away from the book, right? So we know again, Enoch is a book that's taken out of the Bible, right? And I'm going to prove to you guys that. So therefore, because we want to Enoch today to prove, justify our Sabbath. Let's go to Jude 1:14. Jude, right before Revelation. Jude 1:14. Jude 1:14.
Jude 1:14. And Enoch also, the seventh from Adam, prophesies of these, saying, Behold, Yahweh cometh with 10,000 of his saints. Was Yeshaya coming with 10,000 of his saints?
Now stop right there. He said Enoch prophesied of these sayings, right? Where's the book? This book saying that Enoch prophesied, right? Where's that book? Okay, can you read, brother 15?
To execute judgment upon all, and to convict all that are ungodly among them of all their ungodly deeds which they have ungodly committed, and of all their hard speeches which ungodly sinners have spoken against him.
Okay. Now, Enoch is mentioned in New Testament alone 7 times. We're not gonna go to all those scriptures, but I'm just calling out these scriptures. This Apocrypha, 2nd Astrologers, 651, 2nd Astrologers, 649, Ecclesiasticus 44.
Hold on, this for the book of Enoch?
He's mentioning this book. What I'm mentioning is in this book, in Apocrypha.
He's saying Enoch is mentioned all these times, and he's giving us the precept that he's
He's giving us the precept that
you giving precepts.
Yeah.
I ain't going to all them scriptures.
Yeah,
Give you.
I'll write them down. What is it, 2nd Ezra 651?
2nd Ezra 651, 2nd Ezra 649.
All right.
This is Apocrypha, Ecclesiasticus 44:16.
Okay.
Ecclesiasticus 49:14. Hebrews 11:5. Luke 3:37. Now we know that he's mentioned way more than 7 times, but this is just Apocrypha in the New Testament. So I could add up more time Enoch was mentioned in the Old Testament, just bringing up that it's a book missing. You know what I'm saying? That he said Enoch prophesied on something. Where's that book? You know what I'm saying? So now we're gonna go in one of the books that he wrote, Jubilees. Brother, you got Jubilees?
Mm-hmm.
You need my book or you?
No, I got my book right here. I'm gonna get on my phone.
You get it? Okay, I got it. Jubilees 4, 16 to 19.
Jubilees 4?
Yeah, Jubilees 4, 16, 19.
16 through 19. All right. Them brothers don't have one. I don't wanna. There you go Jubilees right here. You wanna go live? Huh?
Oh, you can download too. I mean, they're in our books. We got them in our books. Sequel. We got them in these books too. You can always buy a single Jubilee Jasher book.
Okay.
So Jubilee, Jasher, the same thing? You said Jasher.
No, right now we're in Jubilee.
Okay.
Jasher.
Oh, it's a different. I'm just asking.
Yeah, we got a different book.
I ain't familiar.
All right, go ahead. All right. Got a 16.
4, 16 to 19.
And in the 11th Jubilee of 5, 12, 18.
Start it up for a minute. And Jubilee means weeks, months, years.
Time?
Yeah, time. That's what Jubilees mean. And Enoch wrote Jubilees. Go ahead, brother.
Okay, 5:12 a.m. Jared took to himself a wife, and her name was Baraka, the daughter of Rasujah, a daughter of his father's brother, in the 4th week of this Jubilee, 5:22 a.m. And she bare him a son in the 5th week, in the 4th year of the Jubilee, and he called his name Enoch.
Now we're going back to the birth of Enoch, just like in King James 16:11. Keep reading, brother.
And he was the first among men that are born on earth who learnt writing and knowledge and wisdom, and who wrote down the signs of heaven according to the order of their months in a book, that men might know the seasons of the years according to the order of their separate months.
So now we know that the only you can get the time of the month, year's date is in the book of Enoch. But he's the only one who gave that from birth. He was giving this. This is the prophecy of Enoch right now. He read, keep reading, brother.
Did you say what?
Yes, he was the first to give it.
I'm saying, you say the what? The only way you can...
The only way you can get the proper... We're going to bring it out.
No, I just want to make sure I heard what I heard.
Yeah, because what happens is he break it down himself. You know, we could break it down according to scripture with what we have, but Enoch going to break it down month, Saturday, everything. He's going to break it down today. We're going to bring that out tonight. Go ahead, brother.
And he was the first to write a testimony, and he testified to the sons of men among the generations of the earth, and recounted the weeks of the Jubilees, and made known to them the days of the years, and set in order the months, and recounted the Sabbaths of the years as we made them known to him. And what was, and what will be, he saw in a vision of his sleep, as it will happen to the children of men throughout their generations until the day of judgment. He saw and understood everything, and wrote his testimony, and placed the testimony on earth for all the children of men and for their generations.
So
that's talking about all people?
Enoch was the first one. Before, really, Enoch should be before Genesis. That's why they took that book out, called prophesied, like he said last week, about the stars, the heaven, all that stuff, and the sun going out, all this and that. Enoch prophesied all this before Moses. Go ahead, brothers. Jubilees 6:32.
Okay, Jubilee 6.
32 to 38.
Oh, you will go back on 4, 32, 38?
No, Jubilee 6, 32.
Okay.
Jubilee 6, 32.
Okay. 32. And commanded thou the children of Israel that they observe the years according to this reckoning, 364 days. And these will constitute a complete year. And they will not disturb its time for its days and from its feasts. For everything will fall out in them according to their testimony. And they will not leave out any day nor disturb any feast. But if they do not neglect and do not observe them according to his commandment, then they will disturb all their seasons, and the years will be dislodged from this order. And they will disturb the seasons, and the years will be dislodged, and they will neglect their ordinances. And all the children of Israel will forget, and will not find the path of the years, and will forget the new moons and seasons and Sabbaths, and they will go wrong as to all the order of the years. For I know, and for henceforth will I declare it unto thee, and it is not of my own devising, for the book lies written before me, and on the heavenly tablets the division of days is ordained, lest they forget the feast of the covenant, and walk according to the feast of the Gentiles, after their error and after their ignorance. For there will be those who will assuredly make observations of the moon.
Stop right there. Now he's telling us, he's warning the book of Enoch that so there will be some people observe the moon to get the days, and you got to go up. He said it's going to be 364 days a year.
That's on Jubilee 6 and what?
Jubilee 6, 32,
6:36.
38.
Jubilee 6 and 36.
Read on 6 again. Read
36?
7. No, read 7 again.
You on 30? I ain't read 37 yet, brother.
Well, you said we at 6?
I'm at 36.
Okay.
Are you want to read 35 over?
Go use that.
Okay, I'm going to read 35. For I know, and from henceforth will I declare it unto thee, and it is not of my own devising, for the book lies written before me. And on the heavenly tablets the division of days is ordained, lest they forget the feast of the covenant, and walk according to the feast of the Gentiles, after their error and after their ignorance. For there will be those who will assuredly make observations of the moon, how it disturbs the seasons and comes in from year to year, 10 days too soon.
10 days too soon. So Enoch is warning us about observing the moon for our Sabbath. Enoch is warning us about that, but realize this is a book. Our Father gave us this. If we don't really go back and Enoch and understand it, it's easy to break it down. It's going to be hard for you to say, this is how you add this up, this is how you add that up. Enoch is going to break it down for you. Go ahead, brother, keep reading.
For this reason, the years will come upon them when they will disturb the order and make an abominable day, the day of testimony, an unclean day, a feast day, and they will confound all the days, the holy with the unclean, and the unclean day with the holy. For they will go wrong as to the months and Sabbaths and feasts and jubilees.
Stop right there. Now you see how he said the months, the Sabbath, and the Feast of Jubilees, and the new moon. He's breaking up the Sabbath and the new moon. They're two different. I understand that month mean moon, but you realize month do mean moon, but that's the beginning of the month, but the Sabbath is separated. So I'm going to break that down. Go ahead, brother.
It says, for this reason I commanded and testify to thee, that thou mayest testify to them. For after thy death thy children will disturb them, so that they will not make the year 364 days only.
Stop right there. Now, the reason how you can add up your year is, like you said, it's about numbers. So, you know, the month Abib, right? It's the beginning of the month, so it's that day 1, right? Now, when you count 364 days from that, that'll give you a whole complete year and 52 Sabbaths. That'll give you a whole year. So it's done all about numbers. It's done by numbers. So you got to add up your days. So when the sun go down, it's counting complete cycle. Go ahead, brother.
When the sun goes down?
No. What I'm saying is that it's go like when the sun goes down. That's a whole beginning of the day. So when you get the day Abib, the first, how you say it, beginning of the year, that's that day 1, right? But now when you get that day 1, you still count that day as day 1. Your Sabbath still don't change.
So day 1 is not, you're saying day 1 is not based off the moon?
Day 1 is based off the new month. Moon and month do mean the same thing, and it is that, but your Sabbath is different. We're gonna break that down. We're gonna break
You
that
saying
down.
like New Moon Day is just the big Abib.
The new moon
That's
is what
day one.
The new
Abib
moon.
is day one.
That's right.
And then it don't never go to day one again. It just goes all the way to 365.
It still keep
It
counting.
just keep going
It
7,
still-
7,
that's
7,
what
7,
it
365.
still keep counting by
You
7.
don't never get another day one.
It's
the
never.
day one
You go back to
Abib.
you told me the day one a year.
Yeah. Day one in the Abib is the only time you get a day one.
That's the only time you get a new year. You don't get 1 year.
Okay,
You
you
get
said
one.
it, but
You gotta count
you say day one,
364 days after
and you
day
count
1.
364
They
days.
gonna go-
That's
they gonna
day
go
one,
back
right?
again,
1,
day
2, 3,
one.
4, 5, 6, 7.
Yeah, they'll go back
Keep
again.
going all the way to 365.
364 again. You count again. 36. That's how you gonna go all the way back. You gonna know when your feast days and when you begin your bill and when you begin your year start.
So-
See, our new year starts in March 15th. Not in March 1 like the world. It started March 15th.
It started
So
on
you
March
count
15th.
when you count it from the month of Abib, day 1. Then you count 364 days, 52 Saturdays. Once you do it in that order, you'll never go wrong. But go ahead, brother. Read, brother.
Number 38. For this reason I commanded and testified to thee that thou mayest testify to them, for after thy death thy children will disturb them, so that they will not make that the year 364 days only. And for this reason they will go wrong, as to the new moons and seasons and Sabbaths and festivals. And they will eat all kinds of blood with all kinds of flesh.
Okay. Now go to Enoch. Enoch 7:2-32.
So I'm just trying to understand. So to count days is not based off the ordinances at all.
Count days, or you just simply know when your month of Abib is that one that
How do
beginning
you
year.
so
You count 364 days. But we
to
gonna bring it out.
determine the month of Abib is not
We gonna bring. We got it. I
based
got
by the
it.
barley.
Yeah, we're gonna bring it out. Go ahead, brother. Enoch 7:2-32.
Enoch 7,
7:2-32.
Enoch 72.
32. All the way to 37.
this is Enoch 72.
72, 32 through 37.
And now we're getting into the portals, ain't it?
No, we ain't going there. That's too deep. That's too. No, we going back to the. We just. I'm bringing this out first.
That
bring
thing
what
is
Enoch
serious,
said.
man. That thing
Yeah,
is
it's serious.
serious.
But this right here, we just read, it's after the portals, like you seen. This is after that. I mean, that's deep. Like he was saying, he going in and out the gates. It's the same thing. It's the same thing in the heaven. In the heaven, going on downhill.
Right.
We just got to get it right downhill to go back up there. Everything our Father speaks about, it's the same way. That's why he said all this stuff is written in the heavenly tablet, even the Sabbath day. Brother, go ahead.
Enoch 72, verse 2.
72-32.
72, 32?
Yeah.
Okay, then. I don't need to read from yours then, because mine ain't going that far.
You got your.
Yeah, Enoch 72. No, I ain't going that far. I'm getting super
You
here.
got it.
72, verse 32.
It's got Yiddish words in it.
Mhm. All right, brother. And sets in the west, in the first gate, and that period, that night, and lengthened as much again as the day. It is 12 parts, precisely while the day is 6 parts. The sun has completed its beginnings, and a second time goes round from these beginnings. Into that gate it enters for 30 days, and sets in the west, in the opposite part. At that period,
You got 72-32.
yeah, that's 72. Let's see now.
30 days?
Yeah, let's
30
see
days
now.
out of that.
I was
Wait,
ready.
read that
30
again.
days out of that one.
Read that
Read
again.
that one more time.
Go ahead.
Where you at?
72-32.
They said days, right?
32 to
It said
37.
the word 30 and days.
Mhm.
How they keep track of that? Part?
Well, read.
I was saying on mine, it don't tally up that long on mine. That's where I'm at. I'm on 32,
Okay.
verse 32. I'm gonna start at verse 32. That's 72 out of the Sefer. You got your Sefer, what you in?
No, I got my secret, but
You got the right one you wanna come in with? You want the super beautiful?
read from this one.
Blue?
Super and super beautiful.
What's that now?
Damn. That's another book, man.
We got it all, man. We keep
Yeah.
we read it all, man. We don't whatever the Bible asks for, we read
You
it.
said that. There you go.
The whole I read the whole Enoch, all 3 books I read. Josh, all that.
That's where he rasping from. I got you. All right.
See it? See
Yeah,
that?
I understand. Number code different. Okay, through the third gate for 31 days, and sets in the western sky. On that day, the night shortens and becomes 9 parts. and the day 9 parts. Then the night becomes equal with the day and the days of the year. Add up to exactly 364 days.
364 days a year. That's how you count it, brother.
The lengths of days and the night as well as the shortness of the day and the night are determined by the course of the circuit of the sun and distinguished it by it.
Circuit of the sun.
The circuit becomes longer or
Enoch
shorter.
says use the sun.
The circuit,
Yeah.
okay, the circuit becomes longer or shorter day by day, and night by night, respectively. Thus, this is the order for the course of the movement and the settlement of the sun, that great luminary which is called the sun, for the duration of the years of the universe, and in respect to its going in and coming out. It is that it shall come out and go in this manner, and neither does it diminish in respect its brightness, nor take rest, but continue to run day and night. As for the intensity of its light, it is sevenfold brighter than that of the moon. Nevertheless, the sun and the moon are equal in regard to their respective sizes.
Okay, but now let's go to Genesis 1 and 1:14. Genesis 1:14. Now we know Genesis tell you about, we had to go to Enoch first to break down how scriptures bring out the count of numbers, the count of days. So now we realize now when you look at Genesis 1 and 1, right, in the beginning, y'all created.
Sorry, he was just reading that Enoch 72, right, when he said the moon and the sun are equal. You know what I'm saying?
Sizes. He's saying sizes.
In sizes? Oh, they were equal in sizes.
That's what I think respect.
That's what it is. He says the sun and moon. I give it back to, as for the intensity of its light, it is sevenfold brighter than that of the moon. Is brighter than the moon. Nevertheless, the sun and the moon are equal in regard to their respective sizes.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Chapter 73.
Yeah.
You mean what it looks like from the planet, right? Not the actual size of it.
Yeah, you have to read that scripture. You have to really understand.
Let's break it out.
Let's go to Genesis 1 and 14. Now we gotta realize now, Genesis 1, our Father said in the beginning of how He created heaven and earth. Realize He go on to day 1, day 2, day 3, and day 4, right?
Yep. Let's break it out.
Yes, he talks about the creation days.
So now let's go to creation. Let's go to Genesis 14, Genesis 1 and 14. Read the cap.
And Yahweh said, let there be lights in the firmament of the heaven to divide the day from the night, and let them be for signs and for seasons and for days and years. And let them be for lights in the firmament of heaven to give light upon the earth. And it was so. And Yahweh made 2 great lights, the greater light to rule the day, and the lesser light to rule the night. He made the stars also. And Yahweh set them in the firmament of heaven to give light upon the earth, and to rule over the day and over the night, and to divide the light from the darkness. And Yahweh saw that it was good.
And we gotta realize this is a 7-day cycle of His creation. Now I realize the moon wasn't even created till the 4th day. So if the moon was created the 4th day, how would that play role in changing days? We realize now when we go down, now let's go to Genesis.
We don't believe the moon was created the 4th day, so that's it. We'll let him go? No, because we're going to rebuttal at the end.
No, that's
okay.
Yeah. We're trying to bring out what we bring out.
Yeah, they're going to bring it out.
Okay, go ahead.
So we're going to write that
Now
down.
let's go to Genesis 2 and 1.
Thus, the heaven and earth were finished, and all the host of them. And on the 7th day, Yahweh ended his work which he had made, and he rested on the 7th day from all his work.
What that said?
What,
You heard that? Read that again.
Read that again and look at that.
That's heavy.
That's heavy.
All right.
Read that again.
Yeah,
I'm going to start from 1. Where you're coming from. It says, thus the heavens and the earth were finished, and all the host of them. And on the 7th day, Yahweh ended his work.
So he stopped working on the seventh
He
day.
stopped working on the seventh day.
That's how he created heaven and earth on the seventh, so he's ending his work on the seventh day, but it's a 7-day count. Go ahead, brother.
Which he had made, and he rested on the seventh day
Rested on the
from
seventh day.
all his work which he had made. And Yahweh blessed the seventh
We'll
day,
come back. We'll come back to that.
We'll break it down. Go
Yeah,
ahead.
we're gonna come
and
back to
blessed
that.
the seventh day, and sanctified it, because that in it he had rested from all his work.
Now, he rested from all this work because he rested. The moon didn't rest on the Sabbath day. A higher rested on the Sabbath day. This is a higher account before he created the moon. He created the moon on the 4th day. So it's all about our Father's rest. It's not about the moon's rest. It's his 7-day cycle. Go ahead, brother, before.
Okay.
He says, these are the generations of the heavens and the earth when they were created, in the day that Yahweh made the earth and the heavens.
Okay, now Genesis 8:22. Genesis 8:22.
While the earth remaineth, set seed time and harvest, and cold and heat, and summer and winter, and day and night shall not cease.
So day and night, even with the flood, day and night didn't cease. It still was the number one of still counting. Okay, Exodus 12:1 and 2. Exodus 12:1 and 2. It still was counting them days. Okay.
Yeah, no, right?
Exodus 12:1 and 2.
Here. And Yahweh spake unto Moses and Aaron in the land of Egypt, saying, this month shall be unto you the beginning of months. It shall be the first month of the year to you.
Okay, this will be our beginning of months, but you gotta say moons. You're right about that. Yeah, the month and moon mean the same thing. Okay, now let's go to Exodus 13:1 to 10. Exodus 13:1.
Exodus 13:1.
Read all the 10.
And everybody has it? And Yahweh spake unto Moses, saying, sanctify unto me all the firstborn, whatsoever openeth the womb among the children of Israel, both of man and of beast, it is mine. And Moses said unto the people, remember this day, in which ye came out from Egypt, out of the house of bondage, for by my strength of hand Yahweh brought you out from this place. There shall no leavened bread be eaten. This day came ye out in the month of Abib. And it shall be, when Yahweh shall bring thee into the land of the Canaanites, and the Hittites, and the Amorites, and the Hivites, and the Jebusites, which he swore unto thy fathers to give thee a land flowing with milk and honey, that thou shalt keep this service in this month. 7 days thou shalt eat unleavened bread, and in the 7th day shall be a feast to Yahweh. Unleavened bread shall be eaten 7 days, and there shall no leavened bread be seen with thee, neither shall there be leaven seen with thee in all thy quarters. And thou shalt show thy son in that day, saying, this is done because of that which Yahweh did unto me when I came forth out of Egypt. And it shall be for a sign unto thee upon thy hand, and for a memorial between thy eyes, that Yahweh law may be in thy mouth. For with a strong hand hath Yahweh brought thee out of Egypt. Thou shalt therefore keep this ordinance in his season from year to year.
So he's saying you should keep this ordinance season from year to year. And he keeps saying 7-day cycle, 7-day cycle. He's not saying an 8-day cycle. He keeps saying a 7-day cycle, right? Now let's go to Exodus 16:22. Exodus 16:22. Well, scripture keeps saying 7-day cycle.
Right.
I never seen yet.
The 7th day, right.
I've never seen 8-day yet so far, but Exodus 16:22. Exodus 16:22. Now, this right here gonna go back to what you were saying earlier about the commandments was only gave to heirs that covenant, right? But this right here is before the commandment. But this right here is about the Sabbath day also. Go ahead and read, brother.
And it came to pass that on the 6th day they gathered twice as much bread, 2 omers for 1 man. And all the rulers of the congregation came and told Moses. And he said unto them, this is that which Yahweh has said. Tomorrow is the rest of the holy Sabbath unto Yahweh. Bake that which ye will bake today, and see it that ye will see it. And that which remaineth overlay up for you to be kept until the morning.
Read again, Captain Fleming.
All right.
Yeah.
And it came to pass that on the 6th day they gathered twice as much bread, two emirs for one man. And all the rulers of the congregation came and told Moses. And he said unto them, this is that which Yahweh has said. Tomorrow is the rest of the holy Sabbath. Until Yahweh bake that which ye will bake today, and seeth that ye will see. And that which remaineth overlay up for you to be kept until the morning. Keep rolling.
Okay, where you was at? Where you started at?
23. Stop at 24.
No, keep going with all the 20.
Oh, this
And-
Leviticus. What is this?
No,
Leviticus?
we're in Exodus.
Exodus?
We're in the
What?
manna
Exodus.
situation.
Exodus chapter 16.
16. That's
Yeah.
16.
Yep, 16 verse
We're
24.
in the second month.
All right. Go ahead, brother. I'm
It
sorry.
says, and they laid it up till the morning, and Moses bathed, and it did not stink, neither was there any worm therein. And Moses said, eat that today, for today is a Sabbath unto Yahweh. Today ye shall not find it in the field. 6 days ye shall gather it, but on the 7th day, which is the Sabbath, in it there shall be none. And it came to pass that there went out some of the people on the 7th day for to gather, and they found none. And Yahweh said unto Moses, how long refuse ye to keep my commandments and my laws?
Stop right there. Now this right here is before the commandments were given to the Israelites. This was before. So this right here let you know that it was a Sabbath day commandment.